We are the Gujarat Technological University. Since its inception over a decade ago, GTU has been empowering young and curating minds to realize their true potential. Over 4 lakh inspired students are enrolled with one of the premier academic universities in India. With more than 450 affiliated colleges in its fold operating across 5 zones of the state, GTU, the International Innovative University, your place to move forward.
Hello, dear students. I, Dr. Hitesh R. Ashani, Assistant Professor, Department of Civil Engineering, VVP Engineering College, Rajkot, welcome you all in this lecture of surveying subject. Today we are going to discuss about the tachyometric surveying. These 4 topics I am going to explain in this lecture. First, introduction and use of tachyometric surveying. Second, advantages of tachyometric surveying. Third one, principle of tachyometric surveying. Fourth one, tachyometric methods of surveying. So let us start, dear students. First, we will see the introduction portion. What is tachyometric surveying and in which type of the field condition we have to apply this tachyometric surveying. So tachyometric surveying is a branch of indirect surveying in which horizontal distance and elevation of points are obtained by taking staff reading and measuring the vertical angles in the field compared to the ordinary slower process of measurements by chain or tape. That means in tachyometric surveying, we are not getting the horizontal distance between the instrument station and the staff station or object directly in the field as we are getting by means of chain or tape. You are using chain or tape in the field. If you measure the distance between the 2 points in the field itself without any mathematical equation or without any calculation, directly you read the readings on the chain or tape and you will get the measurement. But here in case of tachyometric surveying, we have to measure the staff readings in the field, we have to measure the vertical angles in the field, and that observed measurements are inserted into the tachyometric formula to get the horizontal distance between the instrument station and the object and elevation of any point. Now, in which type of the situation we can adopt this tachyometric surveying? So when the obstacles are there between your instrument station and the object for which you want to measure the distance, such as steep and broken grounds, deep valley, stretches of water, and like that, which makes chaining or taping difficult or nearly impossible. You see in the figure, various field conditions are shown in which it is very difficult, or we can say it is nearly impossible to measure the horizontal distance between the 2 points which are located on the either side of the broken ground, deep valley and water stretch. Now, what is the primary object of tachyometric surveying? So the primary object of the tachyometric surveying is the preparation of the contour maps and plans by both horizontal as well as the vertical control. Also, on surveying of higher accuracy, it provides a check on distance measured with the tape. So these are the 2 primary objects to prepare the contour maps, means drawings by the controls, and also for the checking of the already measured distance by other means, we can use this tachyometric surveying. Basically, tachyometer is a Greek word, means quick measure, is a system of rapid surveying by which the horizontal and vertical position of the points on the surface of the earth relative to the one another are determined without using a chain or tape or a separate leveling instrument that we have seen in the previous slide. Now, what are the various uses of tachyometric surveying? First one, we can prepare the topographical maps, which requires both elevations and horizontal distance. Second, surveying work in difficult terrain, where direct methods of surveying like chain surveying or tape surveying is not convenient, it's not feasible. We have to use the tachyometric surveying. Third one, detailed and accurate surveying purpose we have to use. Fourth one, primary surveys of highways, railways, and various other engineering projects. Tachyometric surveying is very powerful method of surveying. Next, fifth one, checking of already measured distance by other means like chain, taps. Sixth, for the hydrographical survey, means to conduct the survey near the water body. That is also a very powerful methods. And last one is establishing the secondary control points. In case of the geodetic survey, this tachyometric surveying is very useful. Now, what are the various advantages of tachyometric surveying? First, tachyometer is used where the chaining is difficult, such as river, valley, broken boundaries, steep slopes, and undulations are there in the field. Second, it is used in the preparation of contour maps in which horizontal and vertical distances are required to be measured. Third one, it is useful for the survey of engineering projects like road, railway, bridges, etc. Fourth, it is also used for the hydrographical survey, means survey near the water body. Fifth, it is used for checking the distance measured by chain, tape, and the level by the dumpy levels. Sixth one, it is used where the accuracy, comparative accuracy is not required, but quick surveying is required. Seventh, it saves time and money. Now, let us discuss some minor point in case of the tachyometric surveying. So, tachyometric, the telescope used in the stadia surveying are of three kinds. So, whatever the telescope we are using for the surveying purpose, it is of three types. One is the simple external focusing telescope. Second one is the external focusing telescope with analytical lens, and third one is the internal focusing telescope. The tachyometer must essentially incorporate the following features. Number one, the multiplying constant of the tachyometer should have a normal value of 100. The axial horizontal line should be exactly midway between the two other lines. Third, the telescope should be truly analytical, means telescope should be provided with the analytical lens to make the calculation simple. And last one, the telescope should be powerful, having a magnification of 20 to 30 times the diameter of the telescope. Now, let us understand these two terminology. One is the stadia intercept and second is the staff intercept. You can see here in this figure, left hand side top. Okay, so what is the stadia intercept? So the vertical distance between the upper horizontal crosshair and the lower horizontal crosshair of the diaphragm is known as the stadia intercept. And second is the staff intercept. Staff intercept means what? Upper staff reading, this is right hand side figure, upper staff reading minus lower staff reading in the leveling staff looking through the telescope, that will give the staff intercept. This is for your information only. Now let us discuss the principle of tachyometric surveying. The tachyometric method is based on the principle that the ratio of the perpendicular distance to the base is constant in similar scale triangles, similar isoscale triangle. So you see one figure is given. O is my instrument station, SS1 staff station 1, SS2 staff station 2, and this is my staff station 3. Now from figure, that the two rays OA and OB are equally inclined to the central ray OC. So OC is my horizontal dotted line, this is my central ray, and OA and OB are the equally inclined rays. So this OA rays cutting the staff station 1 at A2, staff station 2 at A1, and staff station 3 at A. Same way, the ray OB is cutting the staff which is held vertically on the staff station 1 at B2, staff station 2 at B1, and staff station 3 at B. Now we have to consider the three triangles, isoscale triangle. One is the OA2B, this one OA2B. Second one is OA1B1, this one OA1B1. Third one OAB, triangle OA and B, this triangle. These three triangles are isoscale triangle. Now principle states that perpendicular distance to the base is constant. So in this triangle, first we can consider this triangle OA2 B2. So perpendicular distance is OC2, and the base in this triangle is A2B2. So perpendicular distance upon base is constant. So OC2 upon A2B2 is equal to second triangle OC1 upon A1B1 is equal to OC upon AB, that is equal to constant K, and that value of K is given by 1/2 cot beta by 2. The constant K entirely depends upon the magnitude of the angle beta. You can see here the angle beta is the vertical angle between the upper ray OA and the lower AOB. So this is the principle of tachyometric surveying. Once again I am repeating, perpendicular distance to the base is constant in similar isoscale triangle. Now constant of tachyometer, there are two constant of tachyometer. One is the multiplying constant. The mathematical formula is F upon I. F means focal length and I means stadia intercept. Multiplying constant is denoted by small m or small k. Second constant of the tachyometer is additive constant. Mathematical formula is f plus d. F means focal length and d means distance between the optical center and the vertical axis of the instrument. You can see in the figure the various terminologies F, I, D, etc. It is denoted by the capital C. Now let us discuss the methods of tachyometric surveying. Basically, there are two methods of tachyometric surveying. One is the stadia method and second is the tangential method. Stadia method is again divided into two methods. Fixed hair method, in which I means stadia intercept is constant and S means staff intercept is variable. Second method of stadia is movable hair method, which is also known as the substantial method, in which I means stadia intercept is variable and S means staff intercept is constant. And the second method is, other than the stadia method, is tangential method. So today I am going to discuss about the fixed hair method in this lecture. Now let us discuss the fixed hair method. Fixed hair method means I stadia intercept is constant and S means staff intercept is variable. In fixed hair method, case number 1, when the line of sight is horizontal and the staff is held vertically at a point. Now consider the figure in which O is my optical center of the object lens. You can see here, this is my O. O is my optical center of the object lens of an external focusing telescope. Let capital A, capital C and capital B, the 3 points cut by the 3 line of sight or rays corresponding to the 3 cross hairs. You can see here, this is my capital A, capital C and capital B. So capital A means the rays that is cut at the staff. Upper A, C means central crosshair intercepting the staff, and B means bottom ray that is intercepting the staff. Now on the left hand side of the figure, small b, small c and small a is given, that is top, center and bottom hairs of the diaphragm. In this diaphragm, distance AB is equal to I, which is known as the stadia intercept, vertical distance between the upper horizontal crosshair and lower horizontal crosshair. Now in right hand side here, you can see here, capital AB is known as the C, that is the staff intercept. Capital A is my upper staff reading and capital B is my lower staff reading. F means focal length of the object lens, given in the figure, you can easily see here. Now F1 means horizontal distance. F1 means it is the, let us see here in the figure, this is my F1. F1 is horizontal distance between the staff and the optical center of the object lens. F2 again, it is the horizontal distance of the cross wires from the O. Let us see in the figure, this is my F2. It is the horizontal distance between the crosshair of the diaphragm and the optical center of the object lens. Small d, it is the distance of the vertical axis of the instrument from O. This is my small d. You can see here, vertical distance between the axis of the instrument. This is my axis of the instrument which is passing to the point M. And this is my optical center of the object lens. So this is the horizontal distance d. Capital D is the horizontal distance of the staff from the vertical axis of the instrument. This is my capital D. horizontal distance between the vertical axis which is passing through the M and the staff. That is my capital D horizontal distance. M means center of the instrument through which the vertical axis of the instrument is passing. This is the center of the instrument through which this vertical axis of the instrument is passing. Since the rays capital B, capital O and small b and capital A, capital O and small a passes through the optical center, they are straight so that AOB and small a, capital O and small b are the similar isoscale triangle. Let us see in the figure capital BOB. Capital B O small b, capital A, capital O and small a. These rays are passing through the optical center of the object glass and they are straight so that these two triangles here in the figure, this capital A here, capital A, capital O and capital B and small a, capital O and small b, these two triangles will become isoscale similar triangle, and by applying the principle of the tachyometer, what we will get here, by applying the principle of tachyometer first in this triangle, perpendicular distance upon base. So in triangle capital A, capital O and capital B, perpendicular distance is F1 and base is S. So for this triangle capital A, capital O and capital B, F1 upon S is equal to second triangle, isoscale triangle, small a, capital O, capital B, base, perpendicular distance upon base. So that is equal to F2 upon I. So we will get F1 upon S is equal to F2 upon I. By simplify this equation, we will get F1 upon F2 is equal to S upon I. Again, since F1 and F2 are the conjugate focal distance, we have the formula for the lens, that is 1 upon F is equal to 1 upon F2 plus 1 upon F1. Now multiplying this equation of the lens by F1, you will get F1 is equal to F plus F1 upon F2. But we are knowing that value of F1 upon F2 is equal to S upon I. So put the value of F1 upon F2 in the above equation and simplifying the equation, you will get F1 is equal to F upon I into S plus F. The horizontal distance between the axis and the staff is D, and D is given by F plus D. In this figure you can see this is my capital D. So capital D is equal to this F1 small f1 plus small d. So D is equal to F1 plus D. So put the value of F1 from here into this equation. So D is equal to F upon I into S plus F plus D. So I am taking F plus D into one bracket. So my equation will become D is equal to F upon I into S plus into bracket F plus D. So that is equal to F upon I is my multiplying constant, that is equal to small m. So small m into S plus F plus D is my additive constant, that is denoted by capital C. So my final equation to calculate the distance between the instrument station and the object when the line of sight is horizontal and staff is vertical is given D is equal to M into S plus C, in which M is multiplying constant, S means staff intercept, and C is additive constant. Equation 1 is known as the distance equation, by which you can find the horizontal distance. Therefore, the staff intercept S to be found by subtracting the staff readings corresponding to the top staff reading and bottom staff reading. The constant M or K, that is equal to F upon I, that is multiplying constant, or Stadia interval factor, and constant F plus D, that is equal to C, also known as the additive constant of the instrument. Certain things you have to remember from the example point of view. M is equal to F upon I multiplying constant. Value of M is kept 100 by the manufacturer. F plus D additive constant. Value of C is 0 when the telescope is fitted with analytical lens, and if telescope is not fitted with analytical lens, value of C will become 23.52. And third thing, when the line of sight is horizontal, vertical intercept V will become 0. Now let us find the equation to get the RL of the staff station Q here. In this figure, let BS here, this is my benchmark here. On benchmark, staff is held vertically. P is my instrument station. HI is the height of instrument. D, capital D, is the horizontal distance between the instrument station P and the staff station Q. Q is my staff station, on which we have to keep the staff vertically, and we have to find the RL of this staff station Q. This capital S is my staff intercept, and this is my small h, that is vertical distance between the ground station and the horizontal central ray. Means in mathematical language, H is central staff reading. So BS is the backside staff reading on the benchmark when the staff is held vertically on the benchmark. Small h is my central staff reading. So RL of the Q is given by RL of the instrument axis, means this, when the RL of the instrument axis means this red dotted line. When the RL of this is given, so equation will become the RL of Q is equal to RL of instrument axis minus small h, when RL of instrument axis is given. And the other equation to find the RL of the staff station Q is equal to RL of benchmark, RL of this point, plus backside staff reading minus h. This equation you have to use when the RL of benchmark is given, backside staff reading is given. So friends, up to here we are keeping in this lecture.